Thank you to all our veterans out there, and thinking of you here on Veterans Day in the US. Let's dive into the markets. Now looking at stocks reporting earnings on Wednesday, November 12th. And as you can see here, there's only a couple of S&P 500 stocks doing so, but they're big ones like Cisco. So we'll look at those, and I'll bring over my handy Kiplinger list with stocks reporting earnings that date and see if any of their charts look interesting. We're going to look at price action, market timing, and momentum because I'm human ready. That's what I do. Let's dive in. All right, we've got TransDigm Group, ticker TDG. This stock has been weak since July and has been basically consolidating right over the 1250 level. I don't think it has a lot of upside ahead of it. I think it's more likely to head back towards the April 7th range, and that's because of the weakness coming in on the RSI Power Zones. Cisco, ticker CSCO. So Cisco had a breakout, but is now pulling back. And this harkens back to what I've been saying in recent videos about if there's a breakout, don't buy at the time of the breakout, watch for a pullback. Now, the pullback we're getting now, I think may end up making 69, 70 bucks, that area, a good support area. But again, we're coming into earnings, so you gotta be careful. And all that pullback is probably a good place to look to buy as long as we stay above the August 18th low. All right, ticker HBM. HUD Bay Minerals. So this stock had been consolidating and is now attempting a resumption higher. It has some great movement on the RSI Power Zones. That's my favorite momentum indicator. And we had a working off of overbought conditions from October 8th back to November 3rd. Now, if this continues higher, then I see room for a long-term forecast. Now, forecasting isn't always applicable on your charts, but when it is this amazing map to where things may be headed. So I'm going to paint that picture, but again, this is just a forecast. This is just a possibility. There's no guarantee that this will unfold. So the forecast currently is for shares of HBM to trade up towards 23.61, which is $10 away by January 2nd of 2026. So this is a longer term cycle that I'm looking at. So that means there's going to be more room for things to get in its way and mess it up. But I teach in loss forecasting how to actually, dive in and find the nearby cycles so that you can stay on top of long-term forecasts. All right, let's keep looking. All right, ticker HAE. Now, this is a great example of when a stock surges higher for whatever reason, okay? They haven't reported earnings yet, but they're already up and away. And it may get you excited, but look at the RSI Power Zones, how extended they are into pull resistance, and we're coming up towards resistance. And we're coming up towards price resistance. You gotta be extra careful there. All right, ticker ON on holding. Now, this is a pretty beaten up stock down to $35. And it has broken below the April 4th low, but it's not really pushing below it. Also, look at how oversold it is. So if it gets any sort of pop higher on earnings, that may lead to a situation where we are going to retrace some of this downtrend from May 28th. But just keep in mind that even if there's a short-term buy opportunity, this is technically a downtrend well beneath the October 9th high. All right, ticker TME. Now this stock is a classic example of don't stick your hand out and buy a falling knife. This is not super dramatic, okay? We have 4 or 5 red candles recently. But the point is, even though it is on its way down and it may be a cheap-looking stock, you gotta wait for it to show that it wants to pause, either with some sort of pattern of momentum, a candlestick pattern, or getting to a long-term forecast, or any other techniques you may use for that. So again, this looks like it may have a buy opportunity soon just because of how oversold it is, but that alone does not guarantee an opportunity. It's still a downtrend well below the October 27th high. Ticker FLUT, Flutter Entertainment, has returned to its April 7th range and is looking like it wants to regroup higher. Now, it didn't exactly have a bullish momentum pattern, but it is showing signs of life. So if it can get above the high from October 24th, we may be on a journey back towards the August 7th high. Ticker PAAS, Pan Am Silver. Now, this stock is just showing a nice pullback that unfolded, resuming higher, RSI lifting, and here we have a bullish momentum pattern that I teach in my 4 zones RSI coverage system. So I'm just going to highlight the levels that are part of the pattern here, just so you can see them. And those of you of the 4 zones can get some practice there. This would, if you do the math on the pattern, give you some minimum upside target, and you can use that to guide any trades you may make. All right, so that's my take on some stocks that are reporting earnings on Wednesday, November 12th. If you found value in this video, a lesson, a reminder of how to use your analysis, a tip or takeaway, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video.